Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Here is a video clip of a war veteran complaining about how she and many of the other war veterans are living in abject poverty. Complaining of how whenever they are promised something, only the lucky few get it and the rest get nothing. And somebody has added a caption to that video asking, Mazipepuka manje, our comrades, after 45 years. So you've woken up after 45 years because you are the one who have been saying Pambernes Zanu PF all those years. I think we need to understand what is really going on here. But let's hear what she had to complain about.
Nondo zvagara zviripo mashoma vamunoziva vanavo ndo vachadya papi ipa vamwe tese hakungoperekedza mangwana todarozve kochandirwa taatawana nzvimbo kwakati ndevanhu 3 vanozivana ipa vamwe vese hakuna makomeredzika zvinorwadza zviri kuitika izvi inoda kutaurirai nyaya yezvikoro yekubhadharirwa ine mwana wangu ndakatopera kuita chembere ndega kutonyorerwa matsamba kutodii kuramba maozeta kumaofisi kutoramba saka mufunge kanyaya iripo mashefu endai munotaura kuti vanhu varwadziwa neupenyu nekuti even tikada kuti province ka iyo zvinodzidzisai madhora rimwe rikuenda kuprovince rimwe rikuenda kunational kutofidha vanhu ivavo vachifidha futi vekumusoro vepasi hakuna kana chiri tikada kutaura futi nyaya yekunzi zvacho mapuwa bhasikoro racho rikupa 1 2 3 vamwe vese hakuna dhororo saka yacho yavakwa inoratidzwa vanhu vakavakirwa 1 2 3 vamwe vese vari kutambura munyika saka makomeredzika.
What she's saying there is true. Last year, for instance, we saw Mnangagwa going out of his way, dishing out bicycles to all veterans. Yes, the overwhelming majority who got something got bicycles. But what she's saying here is, even the bicycles, only the lucky few got the bicycles. The rest got nothing. As for the cars, that's even worse. Most of them, of course, they didn't get cars, nor did they get any houses built for them. And in fact, what she's saying is equally true. That if you look at the last 45 years, the country's independence, it seems like it's always the same few individuals who get these benefits that are supposedly supposed to benefit all the war veterans. But there are 2 issues here, which I think most people, including the war veterans themselves, have failed to grasp throughout all these years. The number 1 issue is they've been brainwashed into believing that Zanu PF will deliver economic prosperity for all the war veterans. All the war veterans. So they've supported Zanu PF in the mistaken belief that they are special, they will get the economic benefits. The truth of the matter is the de facto one-party state that they propped up is incapable of delivering economic prosperity for all the war veterans, much less the whole nation. All this talk by Mugabe of Kutsarushinji and now Mnangagwa with his Vision 2030 is all nonsense. Zimbabwe has been in decline ever since the country's independence. And the reason why the nation has failed to stop this decline is because Zanu PF has rigged the elections to stay in power. And unfortunately, the war veterans have been robbed in to play their part in maintaining Zanu PF in power. The most pronounced time the war veterans have bent over backwards to fight to keep Zanu PF in power is during the 2008 Operation Mavhotera Papi electoral coup. Here is a video clip to remind us all of what happened.
2008 patakaita ma-elections pakaposa papinda Tsvangirai ndandiri election agent ya president. Ma-results abuda tiri party headquarters vamutasa vanga vari secretary vedu ve-administration vamutasa muripi yafona ndiri kwarusapi komogwenda kwarusapi seka ma-results achibuda kudai vanga aiwa zvako izvo Mnangagwa ndezvako endaenda kumusha ofisi vanga vabisa zvinhu zvavo zvose watofunga kuti zani yadini yaparara. President ofona zvakamira sei kati ndomamira zvakaita takatodini kateda sei manje mama ndikati abvudzai baba nditaurira baba gadzirai politburo cabinet musarangarira zvimwe zivi gadzirai chi cabinet asi nangoda kuti muzive kuti 2008 ma-results abuda vamutasa vakatiza.
As a country we face a generational transition. Vana vesa vari kuma below 35 they are crying out for help. The country is in a mess. Arusuru, we know we are inheriting a mess. We know this country has been left with nothing.
I'm assuring you that starting from tomorrow, you'll see a different nation from what you have seen or read on the news about these results and everything. Where we are going ahead there, the situation will be very different. What we said to our people, they could not see with their own eyes. We're going to act as we see it fit. We're prepared to go the whole distance.
Reality is Zanu PF leaders brainwashed the war veterans, not all of them, but many of them, into believing that fighting to keep the Zanu PF dictatorship was in their interests, because Zanu PF has designated them as special. They would enjoy the benefits of economic prosperity. And the war veterans believed it. And they played their part. In 2008, during the violence that followed those elections, the war veterans were Zanu PF foot soldiers. They played their part in the harassment, the beating, and rape of citizens, punishment for daring to reject the party during the earlier vote of March 2008. There was no coming back from that. They had committed themselves to Zanu PF dictatorship. It is interesting to note here that many of the other Zanu PF leaders who, throughout the years, have fallen out with their colleagues in the party, they've always been very careful to underline the fact that they are still loyal to the party. Have you ever wondered why very few, if any at all, war veterans have publicly supported any of the opposition parties? Simple. They know that if they did that, they will be ostracized. So the war veterans have been brainwashed into believing that the Zanu PF dictatorship is their baby, and it will deliver them economic prosperity. Not knowing that they were supporting a political system that would never deliver economic prosperity, because it is inherently incapable of doing so. Leaders who stay in power and you cannot hold them to account, they can be as corrupt, as incompetent as they want, they will never deliver economic prosperity. So the war veterans compromise themselves on the very issues, the values, the principles of the liberation war to promote Zanu PF. What they were doing during Operation Mavhotera Papi was the very antithesis of what the liberation war was about. We had there Jabulani Sibanda boasting that what he was going to do, he was prepared to do anything. And we know that the regime caused mayhem that year. And there's been rigging elections all these years. The tragedy of Zimbabwe is that the war veterans have been brainwashed into believing that they have to support Zanu PF no matter what, when in reality, that was the very thing that they had been fighting to stop. No one has the divine right to rule Zimbabwe. But because Zanu PF promised them special status, they have defended this idiotic idea at the expense of national economic prosperity, justice, and peace. And it is a pity that even now, 45 years after independence, with the country in total economic meltdown, we still have some of the war veterans who still believe that Zanu PF and the system will deliver for them economic prosperity. How tragic. We really need to have citizens who can see the bigger picture, that the system, the political system that Zanu PF has imposed on the nation has been a failure, and we need to change it. The idea that Zanu PF will deliver economic prosperity for the war veterans alone is nonsense. Zimbabwe will never be prosperous as long as we have got a political system that allows corrupt, incompetent, and tyrannical thugs to remain in office by virtue that they spearheaded the liberation war and they have the divine right to rule. We need to change that, to end that system. We need a political system that accepts that the right of every citizen to a meaningful say in the governance of the country is more than a right. It's the essence of good governance. Think about it. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.